Welcome to tutorial number 330, Output Control. This tutorial specifically focuses on reviewing reports. So what we're talking about here is a scenario where you've already run GHS, you've already performed all of your calculations, your report has been generated, and now you're looking at the results of that report. And there's a couple hotkeys that are really useful to know, a few tricks that make viewing the report a very useful tool. So we're going to cover the report viewer first off. How do you actually work with that? We're then going to cover two very useful operations. Number one is copy, and then number two is export a picture. And then finally we're going to talk about raw data extraction from that report viewer. But before we do any of that, a brief disclaimer. This presentation is for instruction only. It's not to be used in engineering for construction, and I'm not a representative of Creative Systems. This is unofficial training only. If you want to get the official training, contact Creative Systems at the contact information listed at the bottom of your screen. And I highly recommend the official training. You'll find it very informative and very comprehensive. Okay, so what is the report viewer? Now, whenever you open up a .pf file, a report file from GHS, it's going to show the report, and it includes all of the nice formatting that you've been spending all this time specifying. So, pardon me. So this is actually an example right here of a report page as shown by the report viewer. And so you can see all the nice formatting. We've got this box here with the different colors, all the headers on top. That's all part of what the report viewer does. And you can access that through several different ways. You can open up the report directly in your file browser. So, if you've got a Windows Explorer like this, if you just open it up, that will bring up the report viewer. Also, if you're actually in GHS, you can do report, view, and then browse to the report file. Usually we'll have a .pf extension. I say usually because there's nothing in GHS that requires you to have it. But GHS then knows to use the report viewer when you have a .pf extension. You can also use a GHS command. The command is view, and then you specify the path to the file name. Okay, so now what can you actually do when you've got it open? So you can see here, this picture, this window is an example of the report viewer. And you can see it's just a normal window. We have a scroll bar on the right to go through all the different pages of the report. But there's no really obvious menu, first off. Now, you can use the keyboard and the mouse to get around. Page down, page up, those all work. But the trick that you have to know is in Report Viewer, right-click anywhere on the page in the report, and that brings up the options menu. So you can see here on your screen, this whole menu right here, that was all brought up by just doing a right mouse click. Now, you can see that right now I'm showing you this in a PowerPoint presentation, so the right mouse click does not work for GHS, of course. But it will work if you're in Report Viewer. And you can see there's plenty of options. It also shows you the hotkeys to use to work with all the different options. So if you've got a really experienced GHS user that you're working with, you might notice that in the Report Viewer they're not even touching the mouse, they're just doing everything with the keyboard. That's because they've memorized all of these hotkeys. But there are two really useful hotkeys that you should know about. First off, you can copy images out of the report. And what that will do is it will copy the current page to the clipboard. And then you can paste it into any application, just like you paste in anything else into your Word documents or anything else. So, for example, let's say I wanted to print or copy out this page and paste it into a formal document that I'm writing up on the results of my stability analysis. You can just do a Control-C, Control-C for copy, and it will copy the item. Now, it doesn't ask you for what area or selection. It copies the entire page that you are currently viewing in your report viewer. but then it works just like normal. Control C, switch over to whatever application you want. That's really useful because the report viewer will have graphs in it. And a lot of those graphs are things that you want to put in your final submitted document. So that's where the Control C kicks in. The other thing is maybe you don't want to do it as just a Control C. You want to actually keep it as a whole file name, as a whole separate image file. You can also do that. The J key is the hot button for that, and it will export the current page as a picture file. And so it actually gets saved as its own file. Again, it's the entire page though. Okay. The last thing I wanted to talk about was raw data extraction. So a lot of the times people want to take the hydrostatic data from GHS and use it in a follow-on calculation, usually an Excel spreadsheet of some type. So the report viewer basically works as a series of image views, essentially. You can't select or highlight anything with your mouse and then copy it out. But what you can do is you can go in the other way. Remember I mentioned that at the core, reports are just plain text files. So you can actually open the file as text, use Notepad or whatever other text editor you prefer. And then using that application, you can actually select the text itself, copy it out, and paste it into Excel. Now that's really useful, especially because when you look at the graphs, when you're viewing your report as just a text file, any section that's a graph in the report shows up as data tables in the text file. And that's exactly what you want if you're going to export this into a spreadsheet application of some type. It's the straight data table. It's already nicely formatted. It copies very easily into Excel. So here's an example. What I'm showing you right here is a section of a report file. I've opened up the file as a text file, and what you see here, the dot plot page and the dot end plot, that's the start and the end of a graph on GHS, and it's a whole page that's nothing but a graph. And you can see here that there's a lot of information. You won't see this in the report viewer. It will just show up as a graph in GHS. But when you open it up as a text file, you get all this useful data. So we've got all sorts of information here on the setup of the graph, things like the units, and then here's the crown jewel. This is all of your straight data. And notice it's separated with a space. So you can just go into Excel and tell Excel, paste all of this in, do text to columns, and tell it that everything is separated by spaces, and it separates all of this data out very nicely for you, including headers right here. So you can include all of that as well, and now you know what each column means. You do have to have a little bit of an understanding about the abbreviations, but DRA, that's the draft, DWT is the displacement, VOL is the volume displacement, LCB, longitudinal center of buoyancy, TCB, transverse center of buoyancy, VCB, vertical center of buoyancy, WPA, water plane area, LCF, longitudinal center of effort, TCF, transverse center of effort, BML is to do with ship stability, and there's not exactly a direct word that it abbreviates out from, but BML is essentially the stability derived purely from the water plane only. And then BMT, or I should say water plane only in the longitudinal direction. And BMT is the transverse stability from the water plane only, so transverse direction. And these are all squished up, but if you actually do a separate delimited by columns, it all formats into its nice columns. So time to actually try all of that. So homework number 331. What I would like you to do, there is a homework in there. It has a report file with it. And what I would like you to do is extract a picture from the report. You can use the control copy method, or that's control C, or J, a true extracted is a file. And then the other one, and this is the one I'd really like you to spend the time on because you're going to find this is useful once you get comfortable with it, is extract the raw data from that plot page and paste it into a spreadsheet application and actually get it separated out into every single column. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it informative and useful. As always, the homeworks and their solutions are available on the website. You can find the homeworks and several other tutorial videos on dmsonline.us. Thanks very much.
Thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. Hey, did you know that there is a magic button down below? Click the like button or even the subscribe button and I will make more videos for you.